World War II was a time of unprecedented upheaval across the globe. From London's fog-shrouded streets to the bombed-out tenements of Stalingrad, from the sweltering jungles of the South Pacific to the winding alleys of occupied Paris, daily life for millions of civilians was reshaped by conflict, scarcity, and fear. Yet amid the ration cards and air raid sirens, people found ways to adapt, to persevere, and even to hope. In the cities of Britain, the day often began before dawn. The wailing of air raid sirens could turn dreams into chaos in an instant. Residents would fumble for boots, coats, gas masks, and hastily make their way to backyard Anderson shelters or deep into the subway tunnels. Some slept in these shelters every night, cradling teacups and futzing with transistor radios as bombs pounded the streets above. At sunrise, they would emerge to survey the damage, shattered glass flashing on cobblestones, fresh craters in the streets, policemen directing citizens around the worst of it. Food was ever on the minds of city dwellers. Rationing defined the kitchen table, dictating one's share of butter, bread, meat, sugar, and tea. Queues snaked down block after block as shopkeepers doled out precious staples, ensuring that everyone could do their bit for the war effort. Creative cookery flourished out of necessity. Carrots sweetened cakes in lieu of sugar. Dried eggs became the scramble du jour. Each meal was a triumph of resourcefulness, recounted in letters sent to loved ones at the front. Across continental Europe, life behind occupied lines was fraught with silent dangers. In Paris, German soldiers marched past the Eiffel Tower while the black market thrived in shadowy corners. Here, defiance took many forms: code written in invisible ink, newspapers distributed at risk of death, and clandestine messages smuggled past checkpoints. Curfews emptied the streets at dusk, and whispers of resistance lingered in quiet apartments as the hope of liberation balanced with the dread of reprisal. In the countryside, things were different, but no less tense. Many small towns in France, Poland, and the Soviet countryside saw neighbors disappear overnight, taken by occupying forces or fleeing ahead of advancing armies. Fields were tilled by those left behind. Elderly farmers, young women, and men declared unfit for service. Yields suffered under the weight of war as fertilizer and livestock dwindled. Still, the rhythm of planting, tending, and harvesting persisted, offering a thread of normalcy in an otherwise unrecognizable world. Meanwhile, in the United States, the war was felt in every factory and neighborhood. Cities pulsed day and night as workers, many for the first time, women and minority laborers, streamed into assembly plants. In places like Detroit and Seattle, the machinery of war replaced that of peacetime. Automobiles became tanks, and airplanes rolled down assembly lines at breakneck speed. Victory gardens sprouted in public parks and vacant lots, their rows of tomatoes and beans a testament both to necessity and solidarity. Yet, the war's weight fell unevenly. In the United States and Canada, entire communities of Japanese descent were uprooted and transported to internment camps. Their homes and businesses lost to suspicion and fear. In Germany, daily life was marked not just by deprivation, but also by the terror imposed by the Gestapo, the constant surveillance, and the threat of air raids more devastating with each passing year. In the Soviet Union, the siege of large cities like Leningrad brought unimaginable suffering. Residents endured winters without heat, bread rations that grew smaller and smaller, and constant shelling from German guns. People ate whatever they could find, sometimes wallpaper paste, occasionally stray animals, and still managed to go on. Children and adults alike joined fire brigades, patrolled for incendiaries, and preserved a semblance of normality. Reciting poetry, scraping together celebrations for New Year, marking births and weddings in basements and ruins. Throughout the world, life during World War II was balanced between hardship and resilience. People forged communities out of chaos. Neighbors pooling rations, sharing news, comforting the bereaved. Letters and brief phone calls connected separated families. Music drifted from radios, offering everything from propaganda marches to the comforting strains of jazz and swing. By the war's end in 1945, the world had been profoundly reshaped, not just in its borders, but in its everyday ways of living. The darkness of the era was matched by luminous examples of ingenuity, adaptation, and courage. For those who lived through it, every victory and every loss was measured not solely on battlefields, but in the quiet victories of survival, dignity, and hope for a better tomorrow.